or unknowingly influence our day-to-day lives, and that is climate change. I'm sure you all have developed a view about that, and I too have. My findings are based on geological observations and discoveries made while exploring and drilling water wells for Indian Army in the Himalayas for the last 17 years. Now this is one of the extinct glaciers. This glacier became extinct about 1600 ADs in Ladakh. No impact of human activity. Still this glacier became extinct. Now these are my latest discoveries of paleoclimatic signatures. We have Indus River flowing once upon a time in this curve, and we have Indus last ice age somewhere here, and evidencing global warming and global cooling cycles. We have found evidences of Indus Glacier while drilling a borewell for Indian Army in Leh, and this glacier extended right from Mansarovar in Tibet to Arabian Sea in the last ice age. All these observations, geological observations, made us believe that climate change is a natural cyclic process, and hence my topic, climate change, natural, a convenient truth. Now, before I start my actual presentation, I'll just give a geological definition of what I believe climate change actually is. Climate change is a natural cyclic process like day and night, comprising of global warming and global cooling cycles, wherein global warming phase acts as a transporting agency responsible for transporting all the materials deposited during global cooling times. In a nutshell, I'll say that floods and cyclones here acts as a transporting agency and since we are in global warming age, so we have more floods and cyclones. Now alphabet C has become synonym with climate change, carbon dioxide, carbon credits, IPCC's inconvenient truth, and maybe after my presentation the C cycles. So this, thanks to Mr. Al Gore and Mr. Pachuri for mixing pollution and carbon dioxide with global warming to make man-made inconvenience truth and win Nobel Prize for that. And in spite of all this, climate change is still a puzzle. Everybody has an opinion on it, but the fact is nobody knows what to do about it. Now you see, in the last global warming, and all wants to restrict after everything they have said now, they want to restrict cow emissions, So this is the state of affairs of climate change. Everybody today, all the politicians, wants to take action, reasons best known to them, and operate on the patient, this time the climate change, without knowing actually what is the cause of it. Climate change is basically nothing but a geological phenomena. Solutions to combat climate change need to be geological. All the talks, wherever you hear about, they all start with the word climate change, but the next moment they're talking about ozone depletion, greenhouse gas effect, pollution, and now carbon dioxide. Breathe less. So there is a theory, latest theory. Breathe less, you are exhaling more carbon dioxide and contributing to climate change. So if that is the case, then Swami Ramdev ji is Anulom Vilom, not taking deep breaths. And would have been the best weapon to stay fit and combat carbon dioxide. And if you see this photograph, this is photograph from the famous picture by Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore, and he's standing here, making it with great difficulty. He's trying to convince you that carbon dioxide is rising. So temperature is here, present temperature is here, so carbon dioxide is rising. And by 2050, again this ladder, if you have seen that movie, this ladder goes up, and he says that by 2050 the carbon dioxide level will be here somewhere, and the temperatures would increase proportionately. So if that is to be true, then we can't stop carbon dioxide emissions, because we have to support our industrial growth, we have to support infrastructural growth, and also due to volcanic emissions world over. We had this in 2010 in Iceland. So the carbon dioxide emissions are bound to increase. So if this carbon dioxide temperature relationship is true as propagated by Al Gore and IPCC, then definitely temperatures would rise to increase alarmingly, and by 2050 scenario would be catastrophic, leading to major extinctions, But this is not the truth. So if we have this graph if the carbon dioxide increases here, the temperatures are not going to increase here as has been propagated by UN IPCC. So carbon dioxide is nothing but they are our best friends, Essential part of food chain that we have read when we were studying in, I think, classes 4 to 5. And we need more carbon dioxide. Why is carbon dioxide increasing now in our atmosphere is we need more carbon dioxide to increase our agricultural production to sustain the ever increasing population. We are presently 6 billion plus now, and by 2050, if this statistics are to be believed, then we will be around 9 billion. So to support that, we require more carbon dioxide. So what is the truth? The convenient truth is pollution and climate change are two different identities. Pollution is 100% man-made, but pollution can also be 100% natural if we have some major volcanic emissions, But climate change is 100% natural. Pollution can be controlled using alternate energies and better technologies. We are using geothermal, solar, wind, hydropower, bio or nuclear energies. Definitely we can reduce emissions. Similarly, for exploration of oil or exploitation of oil, if we use better drilling technologies, definitely oil production can be increased and definitely emissions can be reduced. Similarly, we can have hybrid houses using alternate energies and hybrid cars using water as fuel. But climate change is a natural cyclic process. These are on 7th of December we had this Copenhagen meeting, and I had a press conference in Chandigarh showing man is too small to impact warming. Man should not feel proud because global warming is not his creation, and panic overall global warming is misplaced. So all these were based on our findings, but we had little time to present our paper in Copenhagen with shortage of time, and then our basically presentations were based on this is the last glacial age, and my presentation will be today I'll be speaking more on this post-glacial era, when we had the last ice age. After that, I'll be speaking more of that. The present discovery is of these carvings which you can see. This is basically a Ladakh batholith of granite, and we have these impressions of Indus river flowing here. Before that we had the Indus glacier, and we have cycles like this. The projections you are seeing here are basically global cooling, and this is global warming, this is global cooling, again global warming, global cooling, global warming, global cooling. The cycle goes on, and since these represent C, alphabet C, so I call them as C curves or C cycles. Now, that if you analyze the taphonomic analysis of these C structures, you find that during global cooling times, there is glaciers dominate the scenario, water freezes, and there is less of erosion. So we have these projections, and whenever we have warming, there is more water in the system, earth system, so we have more erosion taking place here. So we have more transportation leading to formation of depressions, which we are seeing here. So everything from the last glaciation, we have been able to document how the climate has changed, So we have global warming, global cooling cycle, we have the C cycles. This represents the ice age. Then we have warming phase, the global maxima, where we have maximum flooding events, and then we have again transforming into cooling and or ice age. So this cycle we have been able to date to about 1,300. This is my reading, 1,338 years. And when we have these big 6 cycles, we also have these small cycles. This one is a big one. I'm standing here, you can see, and this is a small one. So this is a cooling age, and this is about 337 years. So our observations have shown that after there is cyclicity in these C cycles, that is not haphazard, there is uniformity in these C cycles. After every 4 big or complete C cycles, we have one small or half C cycle. And I have discovered about 10 C cycles like that. So 8 complete C cycles, 1 half cycle, and presently we are in a half of half C cycle. So if we go by international standards reference, that is from the Denmark Nordic drilling experiments, the last ice age they have dated to about 11,714 years. That is from present 2011 years. And this, if this is to be believed, then we have one complete cycles, and after that we derive at these ages, which we have come for this. And for half C cycle, we have, half of half C cycle, we have 327 years. Now, what do you mean by C cycle, and how do you interpret? If I really want to say where I am at today, so I'll just see in these curves which we have in this Ladakh, batholiths and Ladakh, or any in the Indus basin, we just go see the rock structure, and if the cutting is still here, we will see that this was an ice age. This was transition from ice age to cooling to warming to global maxima to again cooling, and again ice age we will have. So if we say that we are somewhere here, so we are almost in the global maxima times. So we can calculate exactly which part of, by seeing these C structures, we can know where actually we are, or where we are heading for, whether we are heading for a warmer period, maxima, or whether we will be heading towards an ice age. So this is it. Present, where are we? After listening to this, then we will be more curious to know at present this year where we are, whether we are. So after seeing the carvings and based on the geological global flooding events of 2010, I was stuck up in Leh. At that time, we had a flood there. Also, if you see the global flooding events, we had floods in Asia, almost all these countries, from Indonesia to Afghanistan, then Turkey, Europe, we had all the floodings. Then USA, Canada, South America, Africa, almost everywhere. This 2010 was marked by global flooding events, And after seeing the global C cycle, where the erosion was taking place, we concluded that we were in the half part of the sea curve. So 2010 we have demarcated as to be the global warming maxima marked by floods, cyclones, land creation and land submergence. This is Leh floods. I was stuck up there, and I was staying somewhere here, and we just had a narrow escape. The best part of this was we studied and came to the conclusion that 3 meters to 8 meters of deposition was deposited in a fraction of a second, but this led to about more than 190 people dead. And this structure, this event, if on a major scale, then definitely it might have led to extinction of Indus Valley civilization or Harappan civilization in the past and other similar contemporary civilizations world over. So this is the climate change C cycles. Last ice age we have plotted here is about 11,714 years, and we have about 10 cycles like this. So presently we are in here. 2010 is we are in a half cycle, and then next ice age, if we want to see from this graph, we just have to see this graph and say next ice age will be in 2,341 years. Till then we will be transforming from global maxima to warming, and warming to again cooling. So, and if we want to say when we will have the next global warming maxima, which may lead to major extinctions of all the habitations which are near the sea or near the river basins, then it will be around 3,000, still 1,000 years to go. And similarly, we can correlate with the Mesopotamian and Lothal events of the past. So in 2010, now where are we heading to? Now, if we see, by this curve, we are heading from global warming maxima to warming, and this phase continues for 167 years till 2178 years, culminating in the last ice age, that is around 2345 years. So another significant dates are the last ice age. When was the last ice age then? So if we go by the proxies, then Thames River was frozen in 1677 years from now, and this is almost same, coincides with our cycle. And when was the last warming taking place in this planet? So we had discovered this. This is a glacier, fluvial lake. What I mean is an ancient lake which was made by the glacier. You can see the remnants of this glacier here, and from around 1,600 years AD, this wall ruptured here, and it just bursted. And this coincides with our global warming maxima, So these are the proxies which we are using here to just substantiate our studies, And then there is a story, if you go after this lake outburst, then there was a Lama who founded this monastery, and it was known as Lama Yuru Monastery, and by 1210 years this was built. So we can just correlate all these events and relate it to our findings. So what are the solutions now? So United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, this is the parent organizations dealing with climate effects, proposes carbon credits, clean development mechanism, carbon capture and storage. So these sound very good as solutions to combat climate change. And if you see by definitions which appears in Wikipedia, CDM means is the main source of income to fund UNFCCC's adaptation funds, It has nothing to do with climate change. It is just a funding. These are all funding processes, So what is my suggestion is stop playing these carbon credit games. Because they are just games, They are not solutions to combat climate change. Why? Because a simple flood, this is a simple flood. Simple flood or cyclone will wipe out future generations when they will be busy exchanging carbon credits. Because they will be taught that if you're doing something to do with carbon credits or some green development mechanism you are using, then you are combating climate change. But that is not the truth. They will be just wiped out with a simple flash flood. So what is the solution? So since the problem, as I started my presentation, was it is a geological problem, the solution is also simple and geological in nature. So the simple solution is build sustainable habitats in geologically stable locations. And what does that mean? What does that mean? I'm not talking about any other geological event, but I'm talking in terms of climate change. What does the solution mean? That means build houses away from shores and coasts and banks of rivers or streams, even though they look dry at present. Because what do you mean by global maxima or warming is you will have more influx of water into the system. More influx of water means more cyclones in the other coast, because they are just acting as a transport agency to get all the materials and take away into the ocean. And similarly, a river acting as a transporting agency to transport all the sediments which have been deposited due to global cooling times. All the erosion taking place, depositing all the sediments in the soil, they have to be transported into the ocean. They are just transporting mechanism. So we are coming in the way of nature, and that is what is disturbing us. If we are playing safe, then there is no harm, and we can just enjoy global warming. So I end my presentation with a small climate prayer which I have made, and that is, God, give me the courage to accept the things I cannot change, and that is natural climate cycles of global warming and cooling. We cannot change them. They are just like day and night. Wisdom to change the things I can, but we should invent better technologies to combat pollution, so that our environment becomes more cleaner, and serenity to know the difference. If we are able to make all these things simple, then climate change is a thing and global warming is a thing to enjoy. We are enjoying it at this time because it's a global warming time. Just imagine if you're living in Antarctica, Arctic or Greenland, then you would have been freezing, and it would not have been a night, where you could have had this beautiful gathering.